Welcome back to the Hot Dish Sports Podcast. It may be Viking season, but we're here to cover the Twins. It's the offseason. Let's go. All right, well, it's the offseason, boys. Twins, they may not have made the playoffs. They may have had a historically epic collapse at the end of the season, but it's a fresh start. We could see a completely new team come the spring. So let's kind of take a look at some of the off-season movement that we predict or think that could happen. The Correa era, that flows pretty good. That comes to an end. The Miguel Sano era comes to an end. But let's start with talking about Correa. The Twins have reported that Correa is officially elected free agency this week. You guys happy about that? You sad about that? Do you think he's worth more than just what his stats were?
You're losing a great player, but you know, we tried the experiment. It didn't work out. Not really his fault, but I think it did show that we need to really invest into some pitching because, yikes.
Yeah. And it even showed that, you know, we've heard a lot of talk about him being such a good leader on the team, both in the clubhouse, but him as a leader on the field apparently is worth a lot more than what we all know about stats-wise. So it'd be curious to see if Correa actually gets paid this offseason or not, because he is only 28 years old. He's like the youngest free agent shortstop out there, even though there's a lot available. I don't know if you guys have taken a look at the list. Is there any free agent shortstop that you would want to replace him with, of course, that you think would be better than Correa, or B, you think is actually a realistic option the Twins could sign? Trey Turner's number one at 29 years old, 13.1 WAR. We got Carlos Correa, 28. Xander Bogaerts is out there as a free agent. He's only 30. Dansby Swanson, he's only 29. We got Tim Anderson, who has a club option. He hasn't, since I've seen, they haven't announced what he's going to be doing yet, but those are kind of the top tier guys. And then after that, you got a few older guys who used to be top tier guys or just middle tier even, and Elvis Andrus, Jose Iglesias, Alcides Escobar, former Twin Andrelton Simmons. You got Nick Gordon's brother D out there. He's potentially available, or he is available, but he could potentially fill in and play next to Nick. And we got Didi Gregorius. That's not bad, but he had a tough year for sure. But in my mind, that's kind of the end of the top upper tier that I would consider like, oh wow, we signed him. Who from that list would you want to see on the Twins? Obviously, I'm guessing Trey Turner if he could pick anybody.
Right. If we're talking about a replacement for Correa, I mean, he's just so talented that, like, you know, the only guys that you can really even make that argument for are Turner and Bogaerts. But me personally, I'd rather see the Twins go with more of a budget option here and really invest into some of the pitching that's available in this free agent class.
Yeah, it's probably a good point because we got Royce Lewis, you know, sitting down there healing right now, fixing that ACL that he's got torn. But hopefully once he's healthy, he just slots in as our shortstop for God knows how long, right? So if we can find a temporary replacement, maybe we go get an Elvis Andrus. You know, he's only 34 still. He's pretty good. He's got that veteran presence he could bring to the team. Maybe teach Royce Lewis a few things that Correa didn't know yet. Dansby Swanson would be amazing, but
That'd be
I can't imagine that the Braves let him walk. I'm surprised they even let him get to free agency. The Braves they sign guys before they're even like a part of the team. So Dansby Swanson to me would be the ideal get, and I'd be okay with him long term. He's just such a good hitter and defender. But I also saw today that just this week, Jerickson Profar elected free agency as well, which is surprising to me. I thought he would stick around. He could play short. He could play second. He can play outfield. He can play first. I mean, you can literally put that man anywhere, and he's a good baseball player. So that kind of got me thinking, like, do you guys think that we skip over signing a top free agent shortstop or anything, not even try to replace Correa, instead shift Polanco, or even Nick Gordon can play a little short potentially, shift one of those guys to short until Royce Lewis is ready and could actually fill it full term, and maybe go out and sign one of the second baseman free agents that are out there, like a Gene Segura, who was just in the the World Series. You got Colton Wong, Adam Frazier, Josh Harrison, Cesar Hernandez, Brugnet Odor. It's not as upper echelon type of list as the shortstops were, but that could be a place that you could save a little budget to try to put towards pitching, which obviously the entire fan base has been asking for years.
I think that they're going to go after just anyone where the price tag is right, and then because I think they are going to go after pitching. So if if they go after Profar, but
Definitely.
Polanco played short forever, so I mean he can go right over there, and like you said, Profar can play second or short or anywhere.
And Polanco has actually been on the team longer than anyone now, especially with
That's crazy.
Now that Sano's gone. There's Kepler's the only other one that's even close. But yeah, that's the other big news this week is the Sano era is over. I think it's a little bit of a sigh of relief. I don't know what you guys think. I'm sick of seeing him strike out in big spots.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
I'm pretty good with him getting out of town. I'm sure he ends up with the Yankees or the Red Sox, and he ends up hitting 55 home runs this year with 112 RBIs. And bats like 280 with 14 strikeouts. That's just the way it goes, Or he ends up pitching.
About Ortiz at all?
You're over it. Who? I've never heard of him. All right. Well, the other guys who the options were not picked up were pitchers. So let's get into pitching. We did not pick up the options for Dylan Bundy, Chris Archer. We lost guys as well, like Smeltzer we let go, I know, obviously, towards the end of the year. We lost Falmer. I know there's other guys I'm sure I'm missing, but the Twins fan base has been begging for pitching for a long time, and there are a lot of starting pitcher free agents out there and relievers, but just starting with some of the starting pitchers, just to give you kind of the top of the list, I don't want to go through the whole thing, but you got Carlos Rendon, you got Clayton Kershaw, Jacob deGrom, Nathan Eovaldi, Bassett, Anderson, Tyler Anderson, man, he was amazing this year. You got Verlander has a player option. I'm not sure what he's going to do yet. Gibson, Kluber, Perez, Sean Manaea, Jose Quintana. I mean, the list just keeps going. Taijuan Walker's out there, Jameson Taillon. Zach Greinke, Carlos Carrasco has a club option. I would guess they picked that up, but not sure. But those are a lot better options than Bundy or Archer. So I'm totally fine with letting Dylan Bundy and Chris Archer go for the year, because there's a lot of both talent but also like veteran presence that's available. Not a lot of really young guys. They're all over. Most of them are in their 30s. So what kind of, from that list of the starting pitchers I kind of just ran through, or any of the free agent starting pitchers out there, are there any that you would want to make a case for the Twins to sign, or a pair of them? We're probably going to need at least two. So,
I mean,
yeah.
Go ahead, Josh.
Oh, I was just gonna say. I mean, like, it's one of those things where I think they're gonna have to. I don't know if they can like afford to pay like two pitchers, 20-30 million a year. So
Right.
You might have to be like one of the top tier guys, and then find like the best budget guy you can. But
Oh yeah, there's no way they get two of the top tier guys.
right.
I'd be shocked if they get one. Yeah, I mean, I can't.
it's
Can you imagine hearing like Jacob deGrom in the Minnesota Twins?
that'd be crazy.
I would love
But
it.
they'd be paying
That'd be
him so much.
amazing.
But I'm sure if you ask a fan that same question about Correa last year, I mean, no one thought he was coming here. So
That's true.
not
I
out
would
of
say
the
the
realm of
exact same
possibilities.
thing.
But I would love to see like a Sean Manaea, a Zach Eflin. Is it, am I pronouncing that right?
Yep.
And like just someone a little younger, a little more potential in them that we can feel a little more confident signing them to a longer deal.
Yep.
Get some good value there if we do miss out on one of those star guys.
I
Right.
think too,
And-
like last year, like Bassett was really good, and so was like Taijuan Walker was surprisingly good. Like he was pretty good.
Yeah, especially down the stretch, Taijuan Walker
Yeah.
really stepped it up. August, September, about that time frame. But
And he's still
Carlos Rendon,
he's still 29. He's young.
right? Yeah, and Sean Manaea's 31, like you mentioned. Eflin's 29. But I mean, you got Clayton Kershaw. His wins above replacement 7.2 last year, right? Carlos Rendon was 11.1 on the White Sox, and he's a free agent. He's only 30 years old. He's gonna get paid. and it could be by the Twins. He's the biggest name I've been seeing floated in the Twins' direction because nobody thinks they're going to get Kershaw or DeGrom, but because they don't want to pay for the name, Right. Where the Yankees, they'll go pay for a name. They'll pay for it just for branding purposes. But the Twins, like, you go sign Kershaw, they're not expecting that they're like, oh my gosh, we're going to make so many sales just because we have Kershaw on the team. I think they have to put a product on the field, not just names for Minnesota fans.
Yeah, you're not in that countrywide market where you got fans all over. You're serving a much more niche market of fans.
Yeah, which is why I think it was so surprising when we got Correa, because nobody thought, we just don't normally get guys like that.
Right.
It was good to have him for the year, but yeah, let's take some of that $34.5 million that we were potentially going to be paying Correa this year, and hopefully they allow us to spend it on some pitching, both starting pitching or relief pitching. I'd love to see a combo myself of I don't know. I think Tyler Anderson. If we could go get a Tyler Anderson, I wouldn't even be opposed to maybe getting the weirdo out there, Zach Greinke, just to get some veteran presence in the. He's always going to be good. Like, he doesn't strike out a lot of guys, but if you get him in the pen or as a starter, obviously is what he's going to want to be. He's never going to want to go in the bullpen, but to have him lined up next to like Louis Varland, for example, and Joe Ryan, just to try to teach them what it's like to be a big league pitcher, I'm definitely not opposed to that. Noah Syndergaard's out there too, by the way, 30 years old.
Yeah, he gets injured a lot.
That's true. He's Thor with injuries.
There is a very plentiful batch of starting pitchers available in free agency, and it's really just up to the Twins now. Are they willing to go spend money, or are we going back into rebuild mode?
Yeah.
And we'll find out.
You know who I don't want in the free agent pitching? I absolutely do not want Dallas Keuchel coming here. I do not want to see Michael Wacha come here. I am not a fan. There's a lot of those guys that I think that the Twins, it wouldn't shock me if they look at them and they go, oh, based on the stats, these guys are great. They're not winners, man. I know they've won more than the Twins, obviously, but we need some young guys that are going to come in and take us from being what we were last year to looking like the Vikings in the locker room this year, right? And with that starts with, too, the bullpen. You look at all these teams that are winning and their bullpens are just having the best time ever. And Houston pretty much carried themselves all through playoffs with the bullpen. I think they set the record. I think it was like a 0.65 ERA or something in the playoffs. It's the best ERA ever through the playoffs for a bullpen. And we got guys like Kimbrel, Jansen, Taylor Rogers is out there. Maybe we go back and get him again, but I doubt it after they traded him away. Wouldn't surprise me to see him sign a Falmer type, somebody that can give us more than an inning in the pen. Is there anybody that stands out to you guys in the relievers that are out there right
now? I do like Chris Martin. I like what we saw, and he is a lot older, but if we can find him on the right contract, I think he could be a great guy to kind of mentor some of the younger arms we have in there.
Yep. Definitely seems like we're leaning towards a lot of mentorship that we need with losing Correa. We need a little bit of both. Robert Suarez, man. I don't know if you guys watched a lot of the playoffs of the Padres. I think he's the best pitcher on this list. He was so good. He was so good during the season. I mean, I know his WAR is only 0.7 compared to, a Kimbrel's who's 3.0, but I would take a Robert Suarez at age 32 over a Kimbrel at 34 even, to be honest.
Well, you'll probably get him half the price, you think?
Yeah. As a Kimbrel, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, Edwin Diaz just signed with the Mets again for like $20 million a year for 5 years.
Crazy.
As much as I want the Twins to go out and bulk up their bullpen, I would rather see depth than them signing an Edwin Diaz to $20 million a year. We can do a lot with $20 million a year.
Yeah. We could build a bullpen with $20 million.
Yeah, that's a risky gamble, especially for the Twins too, because if you put Edwin Diaz out there and he's just not who he's supposed to be, now you're your $20 million is on the line for 5 straight years. That's a big deal for the Mets. I'm trying to be optimistic. I think the Twins are going to make some big moves. When they do, we'll be the first ones out there. We'll be talking about it. You guys can find the podcast, subscribe. Are there any other free agents out there that you guys have seen that you hope the Twins go after? I know, like, I'm interested in JD Martinez, to be honest. Wouldn't be a bad replacement for Miguel Sano.
Yeah, JD Martinez was pretty underwhelming last year, as with the entire Red Sox team. But yeah, I don't know.
Well, maybe get him at a discount then, right? Yeah. He still hit 270, I think. So even if he didn't hit as much pop as he normally has, you get him at a discount. Obviously, with this whole podcast, we've all been talking about veteran presence, I think is a big thing that we want everybody to go after. We need a big mix of, we need to sign some young guys, but we also need those veterans because we've got a good farm system. We've got a lot of the guys over at the Saints and coming up that are going to be big, and Wallner and seeing Varland come up at the end of the year. Hopefully, obviously, Royce Lewis will be back soon. It's going to be a good year, I think. Hopefully we can actually take it to the playoffs this season. I don't think our division has gotten that much better yet. We'll see what some of the signings happen in the offseason. If we watch the White Sox go out and get a Jacob deGrom, then I'm not going to feel as good about it. But I think from what we're seeing so far, we're looking pretty good this year. So make sure to follow. What's that?
You think this is the year they get their first playoff win in, 20 years or
18
something?
18 years? Oh, my gosh.
Is this it?
This better be it. If we get in the playoffs, this better be the year that we win a game. And hopefully it's not in the wild card series. Hopefully we win the division and we have a record good enough to have to skip over the wild card series and we get a home game right away. Let's be optimistic. And I would love for us to face the Yankees in the first round. I know that's a heated argument, but I think you go into the playoffs, you beat the Yankees right off the bat. It's kind of like when the Red Sox came back and beat the Yankees. Like for us, just beating the Yankees in a series and getting out of that, I think would set us up for just, that's it. We've made it. Let's keep going. I think it would be full steam ahead after beating the Yankees in a playoff series. So my fingers are crossed that we can do that one of these days. Anyway, all right, keep an eye out for free agent signings. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. We'll be posting anything that happens. Like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We'll make sure to be posting videos about it after it happens. And Skol Vikes.